morning, New York Mets Nation. Welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the Bat Frie, Kenny Fry. I hope everybody's having a good day, good week so far. And like I do every Wednesday, you know what time it is. Hope Day! What's going on? All right. Let's just kick this show off. Let's get it started. So let's talk a little bit of spring training here. The Mets make some cuts, their first round of cuts. It was, just guys send them over to the minor league camp and stuff like that. So, it was all expected. The guys that you expect that they expected to be moved back to their minor league team, the minor league camp and stuff. So looking at Kevin Parada, all the big name guys. Kevin Parada, catcher, he was moved back over to minor league camp. Luis Angel Acuna, he was sent over to minor league camp as well. Drew Gilbert, Mike Vassell, Christian Scott, Jet Williams, and right-hand pitcher Dominic Hamel. So some of these guys, will obviously start in the minor leagues. They're over in minor league camp, but you do kind of expect maybe some of these guys to make an appearance this year up in the big leagues. So depending, I think, a lot on injuries and a lot on how the Mets are playing this season. If the Mets are a shit show, they trade off some pieces at a trade deadline, you're going to see some of these younger guys, definitely this season. But if the Mets are playing well but experience some injuries, don't be surprised if you see, like a Drew Gilbert. I hear a lot of great stuff about Drew Gilbert from all the different podcasts I listen to, Mets-related podcasts I listen to. And, a lot of people are very high on Drew Gilbert. I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about Drew Gilbert yet. So it's good. It's reasonably, it's a reasonable thought to think that he will be up this season. So, and also you're looking at Mike Vassell or Christian Scott. One of those two guys, especially with our starting rotation being in shambles, and who knows what the hell we're gonna get out of it, because it's just picked from a tree basically. Hoping that all the apples are good and not rotten. Last season, those apples were, for their prospective teams, were rotten. For the most part. Looking at Luis Severino struggling in New York, or Sean Manaea, an ERA somewhere in the low to mid fours. Adrian Hauser, same thing, low to mid fours. Not really knowing what you're going to get. Tyler McGill with us last season, mid to high four. So Jose Quintana, mid threes, pitched very well for us last year, but injured half the season. So you don't know what you're going to get. A lot of hope, a lot of duct tape, and just hold on to your ankles and enjoy the ride pretty much. See what we get out of this. They send those guys over. Kevin Parada was 1 for 5 at the plate this year. Not a whole lot of time. Luis Angel Acuna 3 for 8. Not too bad. You got to see a little bit, a couple walks, an 875 OPS and RBI. Drew Gilbert 1 for 9, 2 RBI, a walk. Mike Vassell 1 inning pitch. Nothing, substantial there. Nothing to really say, wow, he's going to be awesome in the major leagues. No, you don't know. You don't know anything, especially with spring training. You look at the rosters, especially the first couple of weeks of spring training. You don't know who half of those guys are. You're just looking, like, you hear about the big name prospects, yes, and of course your major leaguers, your everyday starters, being plugged into certain spots. But most of those guys you never heard of. Wearing number 92 out there, or 87, and you probably won't see them again. Until next spring training. They'll be there for the first 2 weeks or whatever. But so you can't take a whole lot from these stats, a whole lot from these numbers, especially for the pitchers. Christian Scott 1 inning pitch, 1 walk, one strikeout, 1 earned run. Jet Williams 2 for 6. I'm excited for Jet Williams. I really hope he gets a shot maybe this season. If not this season, definitely next season. The sooner the better, I think. 2 for 6, 1 RBI, 1 walk, 1 stolen base, a 762 OPS. I thought he looked good. I thought he looked decent. The dude's quads are just monstrous. I couldn't believe it. Well, one of the 2 times he got on base, I was actually watching, And he got on there. He took a huge ass lead and then just took off. First pitch going. It was impressive. He looks like he's going to be very impressive uh, player for the Mets. Where he's going to fit into our lineup or into the fielding, where's he going to fit? I don't know. Second baseman is to move Jeff McNeil to the outfield, or what do you? A lot of possibilities there. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with some of these guys this season. But it's exciting. It's exciting. For years we haven't had much of a minor league system to really talk about, or to boast about. But I feel like that's really starting to turn around with Steve Cohen and the work that he's put in. Even though he spends a lot of money, but he's put a lot of faith into building from the ground up. And that's one of the things he's talked about over the last couple seasons since he bought the Mets. So he's putting the proof in the pudding there. So got a couple comments. Paul Spencer says, "Wah-lah!" What's up, Paul? And Eileen checking in. Hump day. You know what day it is, Eileen. Every Wednesday, the Bat Cave, hump day. So those are the cuts that the Mets made, the moves to the minor league camp. Like I said, nothing unexpected. But a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz around some of these guys. Hopefully they pan out. And it's one of those things. There could be a lot of buzz, but when they get to the show, do they pan out? We have a couple guys right now, Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos. Will they pan out? So far, not looking great, but you have to have patience with some of these guys. You have to have patience. They're not all going to be bangers when they first come up out of the minor leagues. They're not going to come up and take the world by storm. Sometimes it might take 2-3 seasons. You just got to be patient. The frustration is going to be there, but relax. Like Aaron Rodgers said, RELAX. Relax. I know we all want to win. We all want to win divisions, World Series, stuff like that. But that's our future. So hopefully Brett Beatty's shows a little bit of promise this year, and we can kind of justify relaxing with him. So moving on from that, a couple spring surprises so far this year. Again, it's pretty early and it's hard to really call surprises in the spring. But every season for almost every team, there's always one or two guys that really take the spring by the balls, and people really talk about it. Like, oh my God, such and such, got to make the big league roster, and then they do, and they go out there and have an awesome April, only to never be heard from them again. So, there's always guys like that, just about for every single team. And every April in the major leagues, there's always one or two guys that unexpectedly go out there and just really do a hell of a job, into May, and then they disappear. Teams figure them out, or they just cool down. That's just what happens. But for the Mets so far, left-hand pitcher Nate Lavender. I heard a lot of good things about him as well. 2 innings pitched. Again, not a whole big sample size, but a lot of excitement around him. 4 strikeouts. Last season, he had a pretty good season between AA and AAA with 44 innings pitched. He was 4-3 with a 2.98 ERA. I think in AA, his ERA was over 3. In AAA, his ERA was in the 1s. So when you look at the AA league that the Mets play in, I think it's the what the hell is it called? But anyway, it's a really good hitting league. It's a really good hitting. The AA is very good hitting league that they're in. So when you have an ERA in the low 3s in that AA league, it's pretty good. It's not bad. And I've never really thought of it that way, because you figure AAA is bigger than AA. That's where your more experienced guys go. A lot of times, the most experience the hitter's going to get is in AA, and AAA just kind of it's like an in-betweener, if you ask me. And that's something I heard a lot more last season, watching a couple Mets games and listening to a couple different Mets podcasts as well. They said if you want your hitter, if you want to recognize a good hitter, don't look at his AAA stats, right? Look at his AA stats, because of the league that the Mets play in, with the really, really good hitting league. Alex Ramirez, 4 for 10 in the spring. I'm really excited for Alex Ramirez. A 955 OPS, 455 on base, and a 500 slug. He's been in the system for quite a few years now. He's on the 40-man roster, so we'll see what happens there. If he gets any playing time or not, or what's going to happen. Tyrone Taylor is the guy that we picked up this past season through free agency. He's hitting 385, 5 for 13, 2 runs, 1 RBI, 1 strikeout. So the strikeout's very low. It's good. An 813 OPS, 429 on base, and a 385 slug. Not a great slug, but keep getting on base, and that's good. And also a right fielder, Trace Thompson, 4 for 8, 2 home runs, 6 RBI, 11 total bases so far. A 1.975 OPS, a 600 on base percentage, a 1.375 slug. That's one of those guys that I'm talking about that come into spring sometimes and just have a big spring. And they start that big spring turns over to April and they kind of cool down. So the outfield's already kind of loaded a little bit, but if Trace Thompson's able to find his way in there, start off really hot, maybe to get the Mets onto a decent roll to start the season, I'm all for that. Tyler McGill, he's also had a pretty good spring so far. 3 games pitched, 8 innings, 13 strikeouts, 2 walks, a 1.13 RA. Again, small sample size. You look at his season last year, very up and down. 25 games, 9 and 8, 4.70 OERA, 126 innings pitched, 105 strikeouts. He, I think, if I remember correctly, he started off okay. Middle of the season, just absolutely awful. But he finished the season off, not too bad. So, hopefully he's turned a corner. Last month and a half, last season he turned a corner, kind of figured some things out. I know he's there's quite a few articles with him saying how hard he was working this offseason. Working in the Mets with the Mets pitching coaches and stuff like that. So. Joe Sully, hey Sully, what's up? A few weeks away, absolutely, it's creeping up. I think the Mets are playing the Phillies. Is it in Tokyo this year? Or no, England. The Mets are playing the Phillies in England this year. That's a couple weeks away. I think that's the beginning of the season. I could be wrong though. So yeah, it's good stuff. You can check Joe out on the Sully Squad on Mondays, and at the end of the month, he and Cowboy Dave will be doing their Extra Innings podcast, talking all Major League Baseball. So I'm kind of stuttering and stammering my way through this so far here. So let me take a sip of iced tea for the working man to try to get a better handle on stuff here. It's funny, when you do podcasts, I'm going to go off topic here for a second. You do podcasts, you come in with a game plan. All right, I got a notebook because I forget everything. I mean, when I say I forget everything, it's not even an exaggeration. I forget everything. It's like 50 First Dates with this. It's a 51st. That's what it seems like. If you're not familiar with 50 First Dates it's an Adam Sandler movie. Go look it up. Funny movie. Drew Barrymore. And the kid from Goonies, Mikey from Goonies. I don't know his name. Is he Rudy? Is that Rudy? Yeah, I think it's Rudy too. Yeah, Rudy. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But anyway, that doesn't matter. But anyway, you come in with a game plan. Okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. I have a notebook. I have notes. And it goes to shit right away. I start talking. I start fumbling my words. I go to the notebook to kind of get myself rattled back in, zoned back in here. No, it doesn't work. So you just kind of stammer through it and do the best you can. It's not easy. It's not easy because, like right now I'm staring at my face and, I got some comments come up. All right. I can see the viewers and all that stuff. Great. But then you get rattled and you start sweating a little bit. It's like, oh my God, I got to figure this shit out here real quick. I sound like an idiot. You take a breath, take a sip for the working man, and push on, right? You got to push on. It's a lot of fun. I have fun doing it. So you push on. So moving on from spring surprises, and like I said, Tyler McGill. Really excited. I like Tyler McGill. There's that whole do you want McGill? Do you want Peterson? You want, McGill, David Peterson? David Peterson's hurt right now. So, it's McGill's not job to lose because Peterson will be back this year, and we'll see what happens with that. But it's McGill's chance to shine, to really kind of step up and say, hey, I can be a starter in this league. I can be a bottom half of the rotation type starter, which is what he's going to be. He's never going to be an ace. He's never going to be a number 2. Probably never going to be a number 3. He's more of a 4 or a 5, more likely a 5. But it's his chance to stand up and say, to really show out. He's had glimmers of it the past few seasons, but never sustained. So this is his chance, especially with the injury to Kodai Senga, that pretty much puts him in the rotation. Before it was kind of iffy if he was going to be the 5th starter. Is it McGill, Lucchesi, Budo? Now it's pretty much, is it Lucchesi or Budo to kind of round out the rotation? You have to figure McGill's going to be in there. And the way his spring has gone so far, he kind of took it. He said, this is my spot, but now he's got to do something with it. And if he's going to go out there and get, slaughtered like he did last season, walk guys and just give up a lot of runs, well then, we'll have Lucchesi and Budo, and then McGill will find himself in the bullpen, which again, it's not terrible. He probably would be pretty decent in bullpen as long relief or a spot start, or one of those deals. We did it a couple times last season where I think it was, I don't know if it was with David Peterson or if it was Tyler McGill, where they would start, they'd only pitch 3 innings, and then we'd go to the bullpen because it seemed like their first 3 innings they were really good, and after the second, third time through the order, they started getting lit up. So they'd take him out after 3 innings, and maybe build some confidence and go from there. I got a comment. Yuki Matsui, what's going on? Konnichiwa, my friend. Thank you for checking the show out. Thank you for commenting. So I'm excited for Tyler McGill. I really am. I like him. I like him more than I like David Peterson, but I hear everybody say that David Peterson has better stuff than Tyler McGill. I don't know. I don't see it, but I just, and I don't even know what it is. I don't know what it is about Tyler McGill. I think his stuff is good. I don't think it's great. I think it's good. I think he has that bulldog mentality. I think he's a fighter. That's what I like about him. Whenever I seen David Peterson get rocked, I always felt like he kind of, slumped his shoulders. And, that could be just, me, that could be my bag. I don't know. That's me, seeing something that's not there. But, Tyler McGill, whenever I see him getting rocked last season, I felt like he was a fighter. He fought back. He pushed, even though things were going to shit for him. And I respect that. I like Tyler McGill. Hump day. There it is. There it is, Yuki. You know what day it is. It's hump day, man. So moving on from Tyler McGill, looking at the Mets starting rotation, the way it sits in my eyes right now, your number 1, surprisingly, is Jose Quintana. Then you have Luis Severino probably as your 2, Sean Manaea, your 3, Adrian Hauser 4, Tyler McGill 5. And then if you want to go a 6th starter, which wouldn't be a bad idea, I think Joey Lucchesi, making his first start today, his first spring appearance against the Astros. So we'll see what to get out of him. But like I said before, it's between Lucchesi and Budo. I like Lucchesi. I like Lucchesi's story. I'm an underdog kind of guy. I like the underdog story of Joey Lucchesi, all the injuries he had to fight through and stuff like that. So I'd like to see him get a chance and bring that curve out and throw that around for a little bit. But I also like Jose Budo. I just like Joey Lucchesi a little bit more. Joey Fuego, as his Twitter handle or his X handle is. So the opening day starter, I'm not sure which route they go. If Tyler McGill keeps rolling the way he is, I wouldn't be shocked if Tyler McGill gets the opening day start. He's done it a couple times already in his Mets career. I think last year he was our opening day starter, if I remember correctly. So it wouldn't be a super shock to see Tyler McGill get the opening day start. Probably kind of depends on where the Mets are health-wise, their pitching staff, how much rest each of these guys have going into the opening of the season. So, but Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get Tyler McGill to opening day, just because he's done it before, and he's had a pretty decent spring. Adrian Hauser, not a whole lot of time. Same thing with Sean Manaea. I haven't seen him a whole lot either. He's 2 2/3, 7 hits, 3 earned runs so far for Sean Manaea. Doesn't say a whole lot. Is it because he cut the hair? I don't know. DeGrom cut the hair and he pitched okay still, but just got hurt a lot. So DeGrom cuts the hair, he gets hurt. I don't know. Any correlation there? I don't know. But that's not the opening day rotation that you're looking for anyway. It would have been nicer to have Kodai Senga there, but I mean, there's still a chance the Mets go out there and try to grab Jordan Montgomery. I wouldn't count on it. But with that whole luxury tax thing, where it's, I think the Mets are 110% or something like that for luxury tax, where if you sign him for $25 million, you're paying basically almost double. So, it's almost not worth it this season. I'm not going to pretend to understand it or even be right about it, but that's the stuff I've been hearing, and it just doesn't make sense to me. Why you'd even go out there and try, unless you know that you're going to be a contender, or you're going to sign him for a long-term deal, and he's your guy. I mean, I don't think there's enough with Jordan Montgomery to say that he's a top flight pitcher. So you take a chance, and I mean, we all know that Cohen has a lot of money. Is he just willing to just kind of throw some out there and take a chance on it? I don't know. I do not know. Yuki says, "Kenny, cut your hair and shave like Manaea." No, I am due for a shave, and I am due for a haircut. The wife has been on me to take the little guy for haircuts, and I mean, I don't got a whole lot of hair. I mean, there's some there. It is kind of, and take a look at that. It's nothing crazy. Let me put my hat back on so I'm not. There we go. It's nothing crazy. It's not long, but it's kind of gray, and when you get older, the gray hair starts coming out. It's not it's either distinguished or it's not a good look. And then for me, it's not a good look. I don't look distinguished with gray hair. Now with the gray beard, I think the gray beard looks cool. I got some red. It's hard to see with the sunlight coming in or light coming in here. But I got the red beard and the kind of gray down there. I'm like a Irish skunk or something like that. I don't know if you ever heard of an Irish skunk, but this is what it would look like if there was an Irish skunk out in the world. You got the red and the gray. So I'd be like Pepe Le Pew's cousin. If I know a lot of youngsters out there don't know who Pepe Le Pew is, you got to look it up on YouTube. I know who Pepe Le Pew is. Chasing that cat around all the time thinking it's a skunk. It's not how nature intended it, Pepe. I'll tell you that right now. So that's the projected starting rotation that I think anyway. So going over a couple injuries too before I move on to the next topic. Jeff McNeil, he partially tore his UCL in his left arm, which is not his strong arm. He did that late last season. I think it was during the season. So didn't require surgery, just rest and stuff like that. So he goes through the off season. Everything's all right. Well, then he starts taking batting practice with the Mets for spring training. I felt left bicep soreness, and from an article I read, he just felt something pulling in his bicep, his left bicep. So they shut him down, sent him for an MRI. Everything looked good. Let him rest, and I did see Carlos Mendoza put out a statement on it yesterday saying everything's looking good for him. They're going to give him a couple more weeks yet. I think he said weeks before they start, ramping up the hitting again. They said he feels like that he should be fine. One more MRI scheduled just to make sure. Joey Wendell, one of our pickups this season for the infield, like a utility guy. Right shoulder soreness, so that's something they'll keep an eye on. And also Max Kranick, left hamstring injury. He should start the season off on the injured list. So it sucks, it stinks, but that's the nature of the beast. When you play sports, you get hurt. It's something I had to talk to my daughter about the other day. And my daughter, just 14 years old. Next season, she'll be going into high school sports, and one of her friends and also an 8th grader, just had a knee surgery. And she said she's really nervous about getting hurt. Now, my daughter plays softball, basketball, and soccer. And I said, dude, I said, if you're going to play sports, you're going to get hurt. It's just the nature of the beast. It's if you're not getting hurt, for me, that you're not playing hard enough, to be honest with you. You should feel banged up once in a while. And I said, now, it doesn't mean you're going to get a broken bone or you're going to need surgery. I said, but there's going to be soreness. There's going to be tightness. There's going to be pulls. There's going to be stuff like that, rolled ankles or, swollen elbows, stuff, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's the nature of the beast, sore shoulders, hurt shoulders. So it is what it is. You just got to, give time, rest, and don't push it. It's those guys that come back too early from injuries that really exacerbate. Look at that. Yeah. I said exacerbate. I didn't say the other word. Please, get your mind out of the gutter. I said exacerbate. The guys that really exacerbate that injury when they, come back too soon and they make it worse, or they hurt something else because they're overcompensating. So, and that's something that I learned when I tore my my ACL. Is I had my surgery and I was overcompensating to my left leg, and eventually my left leg, started getting really sore, started getting hurt, and I had to shut it down for a couple of weeks. So it happens. You want to get out there and play. You work hard towards something, and you get hurt. It's not fun. It's not a great feeling. I got another comment. Yuki says you look like John Cena, clean shaved. Oh yeah, fat John Cena. Yeah, look, I'm John. Get it? Yeah, you can't. Nah. But speaking of John Cena, I do a wrestling show Saturdays, 10 p.m. Myself and Cowboy Dave Yarnell talking WWE wrestling. So there's that. If you guys are just new to the out of the box, new to the Bat Cave, we have a whole bunch of shows. Something for everybody. And if you're interested in doing your own show, saying, "Hey, I can talk New York Mets better than this guy," bring your New York Mets knowledge here. Start your own Mets show, or you're a fan of the Yankees, or the Knicks in basketball, or anybody in basketball, hockey, whatever. Even it doesn't even have to be sports. If you want to talk about movies, cars, whatever, let us know. We'll figure it out and we'll get it rolling. Out of the box sports. It's called Out of the Box for a reason, right? All right, so that's all I have on the Mets. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to my predictions for the AL and NL Central. Nothing too crazy. I'm just going to give record predictions, and that'll be just about it. So looking at the AL Central, it's really hard. It's really hard because you don't know if these teams are going to be good or really bad. I'm looking at who they added, who they lost, and what their records were last year. I'm like, I just don't freaking know. AL Central is really, really hard because every year it seems like it's the same three teams going for first place, but it just doesn't seem like they're that good, but they're good enough. I mean, I don't know. So anyway, getting to it instead of rambling on here about it. I had the Indians finishing first, winning between 85 and 90 games. If you want an exact total, I'm thinking like 87. They did lose Lucas Giolito, who just did tear his UCL, so which sucks. They lose him for a whole season, plus probably a half season next year, and he comes back and he's not the same. So it's basically 2 seasons you lose the guy. That's a bummer. Oh, but they did get Cookie Carrasco, so good for the Indians. They're on their way. If you're a Mets fan, you know who Cookie Carrasco is. I think Cookie Carrasco is much, much better than what he showed last year. Everybody had a really bad season last year. I shouldn't say everybody. Lindor had a great season. Could have been a little bit better in the average area, but Pete had some good power numbers. But not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. A whole lot of guys had really good seasons last year. So then I have the Tigers finishing second place. A lot of their pretty young Tigers team. going to be interesting to see what they do. Now Miguel Cabrera's retired. Now he didn't give a whole lot last season. Being his final season, just not a whole lot of playing time. And when he did play, not a whole lot of numbers put up either for him. But I had the Tigers winning between 80 and 85 games. I said 85. I think I'm being a little bit generous. It's probably closer to 80. But 85 games, I have them winning, finishing 2 games back. They did pick up Mark Canha, speaking of the Mets. I like Mark Canha. I wish the Mets would have been able to bring Mark Canha back. I think he would have came back as well. Then in third place, I really struggled with this, but I have the Chicago White Sox. They have a lot of turnover as well. A couple of these last 3 teams, you just don't know I don't know what to think. So I just went White Sox just to go for White Sox. I have them finish between 75 and 80 wins. I have them finishing with 80 wins, 7 games back. Then I have the Twins. The White Sox did lose Tim Anderson, and I think they picked up Martin Maldonado. I have the Twins finishing 4th place at 75 and 80. I think they're going to win about 75 games. I think the Twins are going to have a really, really rough season. They lost Sonny Gray and Kente Medea. They did get Ryan Jensen. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know. Sonny Gray's a pretty big one. Kente Medea is big, but not as big as Sonny Gray, but still a big hit. Then you have the Royals rounding up the bottom. I think they're going to have a better season last year. Last year, I think they only won 50, 55, somewhere in that range games. So I think they have a better season next year. This year, than last season. Maybe not as good as what I'm predicting, but it'll be better. It's hard to be as bad as they were last year. So I have the Royals finish between 70 and 75 wins with 72, I think, somewhere around there. They did lose Zach Greinke, but he's been around for such a long time. Not getting the same Zach Greinke he did 5-10 years ago, and also Brad Keller. They did pick up Seth Lugo, who I'm a big fan of. I like Seth Lugo. I was really hoping the Mets were going to bring him in, and Hunter Renfroe. And I say Hunter Renfroe because I'm a Raiders fan, as you can see. And I do a Raiders podcast on Fridays. How about that? Raiders and LA Kings, Friday, the Silver and Black Lair. This Friday will be at 10 a.m. Should be at 10 a.m. And the Raiders have a wide receiver called Hunter Renfroe, named Hunter Renfroe. So you get the correlation there. So, yeah. And Bobby Witt, he's not a new, but I think they just did sign him to a huge contract. So it's good on the Royals, good for Bobby Witt. I like Bobby Witt. I hate the Kansas City Royals for what they did to us back in, 2016? Damn shame. So that's what I got. I got the Indians, Tigers, White Sox, Twinkies, and the Royals to round out the AL Central. NL Central, I have the Cubbies finishing 1st place. I think they're going to have a terrific season. They're going to win between 85 and 90 games, 87 wins. They did lose Marcus Stroman, but the second half of the season, he was just awful anyway. So he's in New York now. Number 2, I have the Cardinals. The Cardinals really played down last season, so I expect them to play much, much better. They have a hell of a roster, so it's kind of surprising the way they played last season. I think it was an underperforming pitching staff that really hurt them. If I remember, I think Nolan Arenado, if I remember correctly, I should have looked it up. Nolan Arenado kind of struggled. Let me change that. There we go. Kind of struggled at the plate last year, so that hurt them as well. But it's still a Gold Glove at third. I don't know if he won a Gold Glove, but he still had a terrific season at third. Sip of iced tea for the working man. I think they're going to have a good season. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if they won a division. But I have them finishing second at 85 and 90, between 85 and 90 wins. I think they're going to win about 86. So they did lose Tyler O'Neill, but they did pick up Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn. They really kind of solidify that pitching staff. Third place, I have the Reds. They're a big question mark, being so young and so close to the playoffs last year. they're really exciting to watch last year. That Ellie De La Cruz is just he hit a 470-foot bomb the other day. It was just a monster shot, unbelievable. But he's a superstar in the making, that lad. Is it going to be a whole career with the Reds? I don't know, but he's definitely a superstar in the making, no matter where he goes. Fast, can absolutely smash the ball. I think he's decent fielder too, but I'm not 100% sure. I could be just making that up. So could be one of those 5-tool players. I don't know. So they did add Heimer Candelario. They did lose Harrison Bader to the Mets. Fourth place, I have the Brewers, finishing between 80 and 85 wins, more specifically 80 wins. A lot of turnover there. Losing Corbin Burns is huge for them. Kind of seems like they're kind of hitting the reset button a little bit without hitting the full reset button. So we'll see what happens. If they're struggling, I wouldn't be surprised if they do a lot of trade-offs around the trade deadline this year. I do think they'll be struggling. So I won't be too shocked if you see a whole lot of trading going on here for this team, a fire sale. At number 5, they have the Pittsburgh Pirates finishing dead last again, but I feel like they're getting better, and I wouldn't be surprised if they leapfrog Milwaukee, maybe finish a little bit higher. But they'll finish, I think, between 75 and 80 wins, closer to the 75 win mark. And like I said, a lot of young guys on that team. They didn't really do a whole lot in the offseason to add to the team, but they do have a young core, and so we'll see what they do with it. Hopefully, I'm hoping they do better. I hope they compete a little bit. Last year wasn't very good at all. So that's my NL predictions. I got the Cubs, Cardinals, which is going to be a fantastic race. The Reds, they're going to make it tough as well. Those top 3 teams are going to be a lot of fun to watch, I think. Especially with the Cubs re-upping Cody Bellinger. That was huge. Not really sure where he was going to go, what he was going to do. And, being in on Yamamoto, and I think they're in on Ohtani as well. The Cubs are serious, man. They picked up they got a new coach this year, Craig Counsell. But I'm telling you, watch out for the Cubs. I have a feeling about the Cubs this year. I think they're going to make a good run at it. Whether or not they finish first, like I said, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be overly shocked if the Cardinals finish first, Cubs second, but it's going to be in that order somewhere. I think one of those two. I don't think the Reds are ready to take that division yet, but they're gonna push those 2 teams, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Reds are a wild card team this year and make some noise in the playoffs. Got a couple more comments here. Got one more comment. Yuki says, should baseball embrace automated balls and strike machines? Are obsolete? I love the umpire. Okay, I don't like the thought of the automated balls and strikes. I get why they want to do it, but I mean, one of the things that make, I don't want to say makes baseball exciting, because it doesn't really make baseball exciting. But one of the great things about baseball is having that umpire behind the catcher, calling the balls and strikes, and that's what it is. There's no because I guess so what they do is, if you're watching a baseball game, you see that little box, and they'll show you the stat cast, it was a strike and he called it a ball. They'll show the pitch and it nips the corner, and that's definitely a strike. It touched the box. So that's what they're going to do. They'll have the umpire back there. He'll call a ball or a strike. And I don't know if it's the player or the manager. I think it's the player can challenge it. And I don't know if they'll buzz it right into his ear, or it's like, yeah, that was a strike, or hey, that was a ball. I don't know how they're going to do it, or if they are going to do it, but I think that's how it's going to work. So I'm not for it. I just like having the umpire make the call, and that's what the call is. I like the arguments that come out of it. I think it's it's something that baseball has that these other leagues don't have. You see football coaches yelling at referees, but you don't see them going belly to belly with the referees, or kicking bases, or kicking dirt, or whatever, getting thrown out and throwing baseball bats. I think that's the charm of it. It's so stuff like that, but also the skill that it takes to call balls and strikes. I mean, these pitches are moving some crazy angles and like crazy spins. They're just moving, from here to here, in an instant, in a blink of an eye. And, the accuracy that these guys are calling it, like, yeah, there are some awful calls. Like, I could watch TikToks all day of these awful calls. And like, what the hell is he looking at? But how hard does that have to be? And how good do they have to be to even get, like 98% of those right, which is, I don't know what the average is, but it has to be somewhere in the 98, 99 percentile. And to get that many right is impressive to me. I mean, I'd say, here's an example. It's not quite a great example, but so my youngest daughter, 11 years old, she plays softball as well. And occasionally the umpire, either they can't get an umpire or the umpire doesn't show up. I volunteer. I like yelling. I like looking important. So I throw on the mask. I don't throw on the chest protector. I'm not into that. 10U softball. They're not going to hurt me. I'm fine. I do worry about the groin area, but I kind of, off to the side a little bit and just keep my fingers crossed. But anyway, that's either here nor there. That's not about strikes or ball. It's a little bit. But anyway, so just trying to ump a 10U game. I mean, I feel like I do a fairly good job until I'm done. And the wife is like, oh man, you missed so many, you're calling all those low ball strikes and stuff like that. And, the looks I get from the kids sometimes, like, I don't know. So how hard it is, these kids are throwing 25, 30 mile an hour, maybe, it's not, there's no movement. It's just a loop in, for them to be calling a 90 to 100 mile an hour pitch, a strike, that's just a hair on this, imaginary box that they can't see, but we can see, is impressive. And I think it's an important part of baseball. And I don't know. I can see both sides of it. I mean, it would stink if the Mets are out in the field. They have the bases are loaded. The count's 3-2. There's 2 outs. To win the World Series, and we have Edwin Diaz on the mound, and he throws a pitch that nips the corner, should be a strike, but the umpire calls it a ball. And we can't appeal it. Mets. The World Series tie up, and the Mets lose the World Series. I mean, that would really suck ass. But that's just part of the game. So, I mean, I was receptive to instant replay, because I do think it's good. But I mean, like looking at some of that stuff, how bang bang is it, for when a guy's running down to first base, whether he's safe or out, pop pop. I mean, it's like, we couldn't do that. So that's my thoughts on the automated balls and strike machines, or however they're going to do it. Like I said, I've seen a couple different iterations of it, but I'm not sure what they will do, what they won't do. And if they'll do that, like I said, they'll have the box, like somebody's watching the box, from another location. And if the player or the coach, say, hey, that's a strike, I want to appeal that. That's what I thought I saw. I thought I saw a player, the batter go like this, and the umpire calls time. And I guess he gets a call from wherever, or a buzz or whatever, and they tell him if it was a ball or strike, if it was a correct call or the wrong call. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. But it'll be interesting to see if they do implement it and how they do it. And I'm sure they're already doing it in the minor leagues. I think that's probably where I saw it. I don't know what level in minor leagues, but that's where they test everything. And it's a great idea to test it down there. One, because those guys are, a portion of those guys are moving up into the big leagues, so they're already used to it. So it's less people you have to train, or the less people that have hiccups with it. And two, you can see if it works, before you roll it out to a national audience on Major League Baseball. So I think that's a great idea when you're testing stuff out like this. And I think it's great that baseball's trying different things to make it interesting, to make it better for the fans. I'm not so sure it's going to be the greatest thing. I don't know. It might be, but I think you just lose some of that, some of the stuff that makes baseball, really cool, really good. So that's my opinion on it. I don't know. Let me know your opinions. Anybody else that will, comment, I'll read your comment, shout you out, whatever. Don't be scared. You see how I'm struggling through this. It's okay. Nobody's perfect. Just having fun. Real quick before I get out of here, Brett Beatty, I wanted to talk about him, but I forgot to put him in my topics today. So far the spring's not going well for Brett Beatty. At the plate, he's struggling still. He did hit a ball yesterday against the Yankees. I think I don't know if he got any RBI with it or not, but it's 107-mile-an-hour off the bat. That's great to see. He's hitting the ball hard now. He wasn't hitting the ball earlier in the spring. He wasn't hitting the ball hard earlier in the spring, and just looked lost at the plate again. Looked, just didn't look great. But he starts hitting the balls hard, whether or not they're outs or hits. But if he's hitting the ball hard, that's telling you he's almost there. That he's kind of figuring it out. So I think that's something really good to see. That he's hitting the ball really hard. His fielding, I thought his fielding has been pretty good this year, this spring so far. He had a beautiful diving stop. I think it was a couple days ago. Was it against the Astros? I don't remember. So hopefully he's turning the corner. I'm really. I said before. I feel like a few episodes ago. I feel like Brett Beatty's going to have a good season this year. A nice turnaround season where you got to get some of that pressure off of Brett Beatty, and maybe a little bit more belief in Brett Beatty. He doesn't have to worry if he's going to lose his job or if he's going to get sent down to AAA or whatever. So I feel like it's going to be a nice turnaround season. I think I predicted him to hit around 240, 250. I think I said he'd have between 20 and 22 home runs and around like 50, 60 RBI, which it's a really nice turnaround. It's a good turnaround season for him. Yuki Matsui says, "Hey, Yuki, you bring all the questions you want, buddy. I'll read them all. How many wins are the Mets going to have again in 2024? I predict 79 games. So next week I'll be doing my AL and NL East, but I'll do it just for you. So I'm thinking between 75 and 80. I could see them. It all hedges on their pitching staff. I feel like their bullpen's going to be good. I feel like their bullpen's going to be just fine as long as they stay healthy. And Edwin Diaz comes back as the old Edwin Diaz. It's their starting rotation. What happens with that? If their starting rotation, all these guys, Luis Severino, Sean Manaea, Adrian Hauser, Tyler McGill, if they're able to rebound, bounce back from what they were last season, the Mets have a chance to make a run for the wild card. But if they're just mediocre like they were last season, you're looking at 75, 80, between 75 and 80 wins, probably in the lower part of that in my opinion, like 75, 76 wins. But if they have a healthy pitching staff, because I feel like their offense, like I said about Brett Beatty bouncing back, I feel like Vientos is going to have a bounce back season, a better season. I feel like Francisco Alvarez is going to build on last season. I feel like he's going to work on his average, get that up a little bit, get on base a little bit more. And so I feel like he's going to be a little bit better. Pete Alonso, I feel like his average is going to be higher than it was last season. Jeff McNeil finished, if he stays healthy, if he's able to get healthy, he finished last 50, 60 games hitting over 300. Brandon Nimmo, not Hunter Renfroe. I got Hunter Renfroe on the brain here. Harrison Bader, what's he going to give us offensively? Defensively, he should be good. Starling Marte, can he stay healthy? All these, question marks, all these, buts, it's huge. As long as I've been a Mets fan, I can't remember this many question marks, over the team. Can Beatty bounce back? Can Vientos be a DH? Will Pete Alonso, hit for average better? Will he hit the opposite field more? Will he hit more line drives than stroking for home runs? Will Jeff McNeil return to form as a batting champ? Can the starting pitching stay healthy? And these pieces that we just kind of island of misfit toys picked out of everywhere and just put molded together and see what the hell happens. Can they perform like we know they can perform, like they performed in the past? Can they do that? It's so many questions, and I think that's what makes this team so interesting. It really does. It's the pieces that they added. I wasn't high on a lot of these pieces that they added. I'm like, that sucks. But I kind of understand. You heard a lot last season after douchebag Scherzer left the team. The talk of the Mets aren't building towards 2024; they're building more in mind of 2025. So you kind of see that after some of these pieces that they got, signing 1-year deals, 2-year deals with an option or whatever it's been, it is kind of building towards 2025. But the exciting thing about this team is if they play to their potential, if they play to what they've done in the past, this could be a decent team. It ain't going to be, a first place team. They're not going to sniff the Atlanta Braves ass, but they could definitely sneak in with a wild card. And once you get it, I say this for every show that not every show, for every podcast I do, for every team, when it gets close to playoff time, it doesn't matter how you get into the playoffs. I don't care if you win divisions, wild cards, whatever. It doesn't matter how you get in. Everybody that goes into the playoffs starts off 0-0, clean, fresh. All right, now you might be playing a better opponent if you're a lesser seed, whatever. But everybody's 0-0. Anything can happen. Anything. You come into that hot, you can make a run. Phillies did it 2 seasons ago, right? So it's anything can happen. Just get to the tournament, as I call it all the time. Get to the tournament and see what happens, right? So with all those question marks, I think if we get half of our question marks turn out to be good, I feel like the Mets could have a good season. A potential push towards a wild card spot. But if most of those question marks miss, it's going to be a rough season. It's going to be a lot of Frank the Tank yelling. So Yuki Matsui says Manaya and Sevi are going to flop. I hope not. I have a bad feeling about Manaya, but I mean it's early in the spring. I don't know a whole lot about Manaya. Severino, he had a lot going on last season mentally. I feel like so. I feel stuff being kind of cleared out mentally for him. I feel he's going to have a bounce back season. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Cy Young. He's going to pitch under 3 ERA. A mid-3, high 3 ERA, I'll take that any day of the week from him. So, I mean, our whole starting rotation right now. If we can get our starting rotation mid to high 3 ERA, I'd feel okay about it. As long as we have offense. If we don't have offense, it doesn't matter what the hell the ERA is. But I mean, quality starts. That's what Jose Quintana gave us when he came off the injured list last season. Time and time again, he didn't win a lot of games, but he went out there, 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. Quality starts. Gives your team a chance to win. That's all you ask. That's all you can ask from your starting pitching. Give us a chance to win. Keep the game close, and get us at least to a decent spot in the game where it's close. Not the 4th inning or 3rd inning, bullshit, or so many times the 5th inning last season. You want 6th inning. You want 6th, 7th inning, and then turn it over to your bullpen. You don't get a lot of that anymore in today's baseball. I get it, but that's realistically that's when you want from your starting pitching. So you're not overusing your bullpen. I feel like one of those two guys will not flop. And I think Severino's going to be decent. So that's my thought on that. So I'm going to go ahead and do a couple sponsor reads before I get out of here. Pay some bills, as it were. Jason Fine, J. Fine Law, attorney, Big Al. You reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. In the Garden State of New Jersey, Cherry Hill, the office is located 3 Greensward Lane. The number there is 856-209-5258. And in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the offices are located 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. And in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the offices are located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. That's Jason Fine, attorney Big Al, 1-800-HURT-123. So once you get all your legal issues taken care of and you're feeling good about yourself, head on over to monkeycoltcoffee.com. Get yourself some gourmet coffee. They got golden bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee. They got toasted coconut rum, which is one of my favorites. They got a Sumatran medium roast blend, a whole bean or ground. They have an organic blend, Peru La Florida, and their newest blend, golden honey agave, and that's fantastic. I'm telling you right now, maybe on a Saturday morning, kind of sitting out there on the porch, get yourself some of that golden honey agave coffee. Throw a shot of Jack Daniel's honey in there. Woo, mama. Hotty toddy right there, baby. Telling you. Good stuff at monkeycoldcoffee.com. Head on over to their swag shop as well. They got T-shirts with their mascot on there, Roderick, the coffee drinking monkey. Look at him wearing his robe, drinking coffee. He doesn't give two shits what's going on in the world. They got coffee mugs, tumbler cups. Cold brew pitchers are super easy to use. K-cup adapters for all you K-cuppers out there, so you can use this coffee in your K-cup machine, Keurig or whatever otherwise. Walmart brands, I don't know. And they also have Paradise Rum Cake, and they're also selling barrel-aged honey at monkeycoldcoffee.com. And at checkout, use that promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off your order. That promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports for 10% off your order at monkeycoldcoffee.com. And no messing around, I love Monkey Cold Coffee. I got the old coffee mug gimmick. This wasn't a freebie from Monkey Cold Coffee. I bought that. So you know. I don't know why I told you that, but I did. All right, so that's all I have for today. I appreciate every single one of you for checking the show out and hanging out with me and hanging in there with me as I struggled through the first half of the show. Sometimes it's rough. You know, I work night shift and I kind of get tongue-tied. It's getting late for me. And so, yeah. Be sure to check out all of our other shows here, Out of the Box Sports. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly known as Twitter. We're also on the Instagram and TikTok and Twitch. Hashtag OOTBox Sports. And like I said before, if you're interested in doing a show, you think you do better than me, let us know. We'll get you on there. Any team, any sport, any topic, anything you want to talk about, you let us know. We'll figure it out. We'll find a place for you, and we'll get you started and help you out as much as we can. All right. That's all I have for today. I appreciate everybody for checking the show out, and thank you for all the comments, likes, shares, all that stuff. Make sure you subscribe. And so be sure to tune in next Wednesday, 10 a.m., same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you, everybody. Let's go Mets.